conventional wisdom in the car biz is that nobody shopping for a mid-class export ever cross-shops stuff from Detroit. Certainly not a Buick. That makes GM all red and angry, so they decided to do something about it. Here's the 2012 LaCrosse. Let's take it for a spin. Check the perceptions and check the tech. Before I take you inside, first a note about the looks. Trust me when I tell you this car doesn't photograph or shoot well. I've never seen a good picture or video clip of it. It's not our shooter's fault. You're a good guy, Jim. It just doesn't look good on imaging products. I don't know why. Now here's what doesn't look good. These faux hood vents. Yes, I know they're kind of vintage Roadmaster DNA, but Buick, don't put them on here. Leave that for the customer to get at Pep Boys and stick over here with some double stick tape. Now, I gotta give it to Buick right off the bat. This interior is not to my liking, it's not my taste, kind of gaudy in a modern Las Vegas hotel way, but it's really well done. If this is your goal, they've nailed the goal. That's one of the great integrations in terms of look and color and style of instrument panel to LCD head unit. Right away, your eye's drawn to this beautiful 8-inch touch LCD. One issue is, because you've got the layback dash, which really opens this room up, you do have a long reach to the screen. If I'm here in my seat, and by the way, I'm pushed way up for shooting purposes, I can't reach that, and I've got kind of long arms. And if I have my seat where I really drive, forget it. Navigation looks great on this guy. It's in there in the class with Toyota and BMW and some others. But here's where things start to get annoying. You can get navigation, or you can get their IntelliLink, telematics and app-based connected head unit. You can't get both. That's a bad decision to have to make. IntelliLink is basically GM's sync killer, with advanced natural language voice control for calls and media, and app-based support for Pandora streaming radio and Stitcher audio podcasts, with hopefully more apps to follow soon. Now, you may find conflicting data out there about Bluetooth hands-free on this car. It is indeed standard, though the Buick website may indicate otherwise. Now, like so many cars, you've got a lockout going on here. As when the car's moving, a lot of things like address entry for navigation go gray for safety. So then you would drop back to your voice command.
Ready?
Turn-by-turn directions.
All right, now say plan route, directory, or store.
Plan route.
I'm sorry, to use the plan route command, you need to have stored destinations. To get a route now, please push the blue OnStar button.
And all I can get to via voice are these dopey turn-by-turn directions from the OnStar Operations Center. I don't want that. I want to talk to my in-car nav system and get this done. Now, it turns out there's an Easter egg for voice command of the GPS system in the car. You hold and press the source button on the steering wheel for a couple seconds. Odd. They've got something called the Confidence Package. That'll give you that head-up display, which is actually one of the better ones I've seen, and nicely color-keyed to the rest of the stuff on the dash. Very nice. And you also get a blind spot indicator system for that, but it won't keep you out of trouble if you're drifting into someone's path. Now, intelligently, they have not a light foot gauge, but a momentum gauge. What I mean by that is the eco gauge, as so many cars have these days. This one shows when you're either accelerating too hard or if you're braking too hard. Both are bad for cars when you're trying to get the maximum efficiency out of the energy. That's a very smart way to show it. Up in the engine bay, it's not a pretty thing. 2.4-liter inline-4 with some great tech. Direct injection. It's a very modest capacity for a car of this size, but it's got what they call a belt alternator starter hybrid system, a mild hybrid. You get electric motor boost by that belt pulling on the crank pulley. It's kind of crude stuff. When we saw this in the Chevy Malibu hybrid, it was kind of embarrassing. But they've really refined it, and now it's a super smart system. This whole apparatus gets this car something like 25 or 30% better efficiency, and it's not terribly complicated. The numbers, 182 horsepower, 172 foot-pounds of torque. We've got 9.2 or so as the 0 to 60, perfectly adequate. And 2536 mpg. But I want you to experience how this car performs on the road in terms of cohesion. It's very interesting. Come on. Now, as you know, I particularly like cars that do what they set out to do, whatever that may be. And I think the LaCrosse does that. First of all, this little putt-putt motor is very small, but doesn't come off as puny. You can tell it's a 4 that's doing its damnedest through technology to move this car well, but it does move this car well. This may also be one of the best matings of engine, transmission, and electronic control unit that I've driven in a year or two. The shift points, the torque load from the engine applied to that transmission when it's shifting are really nice. Now, on the downside, this is not a responsive car in terms of having sporting power. You get the V6 for that. And the handling is a little wallowy. It's an understeering proposition, to be sure. But most consumers don't know what understeering is, let alone why it should bother them. Oh, one other small thing. There is no visibility in this car. This is the biggest A-pillar I think I've ever seen. You can lose another car there easily, let alone a kid on a bike. That's a serious problem. And the same thing in the back. That rear package shelf rises up to meet these chunky C-pillars, and you may as well just cross your fingers and listen for the crunch. All right, how do we do a LaCrosse, CNET style? Start off base about 31 grand delivered. Then you've got this Sophie's Choice, IntelliLink, their apps platform, or navigation. To me, it's pretty easy. Since the navigation's been crippled by the legal team, goodbye. I'm going to option this guy with a package that will include IntelliLink, and I'm going to clip my Android phone on the windshield to get navigation. Beyond that, the Confidence package is intriguing. It's about $1,400, but it gives you a really good quality head-up display and the blind spot technology if you're into that.